I was getting a drink, Justin. We ready? Rolling? Hey. Man, I was sitting there waiting. I was prepared forever. And then I got a drink and you're like, what?
Hey.
Hey. All right, let's starting now. Is this live?
Something in the water taught me how to crawl. Something in the water taught me how to fall.
Welcome to another episode of Something in the Water podcast. Your host, Sean Clark and
Uncle Dave Griffin.
Uncle Dave Griffin. And today's guest, we have Soglo Guitar Gallery, Paul Stokes and Crawford Perkins.
Hey.
From Brunswick, Georgia. How you guys doing?
We're good.
Good. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate y'all coming all the way over. Soglo Guitar Gallery is located in Brunswick, Georgia, which is about an hour east of here. It's right there in the Golden Isles vicinity of coastal Georgia, right there on the Atlantic Ocean. Brunswick, St. Simons, Sea Island, Jekyll Island, all those touristy kind of towns. But y'all are in Brunswick, and what? I figured Soglo, it's a hyphenated Soglo. I figured Glow is Gloucester.
That's right.
Okay, because that's the street
And we're
that
south.
you're front.
Yep.
And
So is the south. So you got south of Gloucester.
Okay.
Gloucester, Gloucester, Gloucester.
I was going to ask how do y'all say it?
However, when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, I think I'll call it Gloucester today. And then the next day, I'm like, it's Gloucester today. If I want to feel, uppity or not.
So
Glow.
y'all
So
are partners in crime,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Partners in this endeavor. And how long's it been now since you?
2 years.
2 years.
Okay. I was thinking it had been longer. It seems like it.
It does seem
It
much
feels
longer.
longer, yeah.
When you
bet
have him for a
does.
partner, it seems a lot longer.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So tell us about the origins. Tell us about how y'all came about this. Was it just something you woke up with one morning, or is it something that you've been plotting and planning for
Crawford's had
years?
stores before.
Yeah, I'd had
Oh, that's
I'd
right.
had
Yeah.
city music before. But I met Paul through Preacher, who does all our repairs. They've been friends for a long time. And Paul, I was working at Portman's Music, and I'd come off the road from working with traveling for Fender and for Line 6 and Gibson, and I was just ready to do a store. And I've been collecting guitars the whole time I was out on the road. I had like 60 something guitars. And I met Paul, and Paul was buying a bunch of guitars, and he was collecting a lot of guitars. And so one day I started thinking about opening a store. And what was funny is he was thinking about opening a store at the same time. So we were standing outside Tipsy McSway's one night just talking, and it was like, I said, why don't we just, and they were like, we're going to open a store. I said, well, I'm going to open a store. And they're like, well, why don't we just do it together?
Yeah.
So that
Cuts out the
that started
competition.
that. So he's the, I'm there for the day-to-day stuff. He's the financial czar of the place. And takes care of all that. And now he's the builder. He's the guitar builder, the amp builder, the pedal builder, the finisher. He's I just sit in the store all day.
He gets paid the big bucks.
Yeah, I'm 100 there.
Well, we know that you're a picker, a player, a musician. You play out around town all the time. Paul, are you a player as well?
I mess around.
Yeah.
I don't have the time like Crawford to go
Yeah.
play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
You're primarily a builder, a construction.
Yes.
You own a construction company.
Correct.
In fact. Yeah.
Yes.
That's pretty cool, man.
So I enjoy building and the
Yeah.
guitars. We've been building guitars for about 2 years.
Yeah, we started pretty quick after we opened.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff.
And this is some of your work right here.
Yeah. Yes.
This is this one right here is number one. This is the first one before we even know we were going to call them Soglo Customs. It
Hold
was
that
just,
up.
Hold it up. Let's
Yeah.
look at that thing.
Look at how pretty that thing is. Tell us about it, Paul.
Well, I actually built that for myself.
Yeah.
It's the first one ever. It's made out of 200-year-old barn pine.
Barn
Barn pine.
pine.
They were taking this down and going to get rid of it, and I just designed a guitar out of it. The first one of Fender's first guitars were made out of pine, so I wanted
Yeah.
to see what it was like. And
So it's pretty light. Is
Yeah.
it fairly light? Not
it's,
really.
it's kind of
got some
heavy.
weight.
Got
Yeah.
some heft.
It's not
Yeah.
super heavy, but it's got
I
some.
love that knot.
Yeah.
That knot hole right there. Well, there's several knot holes on it, but that one is
Yeah, I love that.
beautiful.
rustic
I mean, it's
look.
kind of. It reminds me of the Stevie Wonder "Songs in the Key of Life" album. I don't know if you go back and look at that
Yeah.
album cover.
Yeah.
It's got kind of like it's almost like a tunnel. That is very pretty. And the pick guard is
so that's just a piece of steel. It's been hit with some acid and some clear coat, so it give it more of like an aged look. But it was beautiful lumber that I had, and milled it down and shaped a guitar body out of it and put a neck on it. So
American
barn caster.
barn caster.
Yes, and on the back plate that holds the neck on, it's got a picture of a barn with an American flag.
Oh my gosh.
So that was our first build.
That is something.
Yeah.
I don't even think I got to play it. We brought it in the store and it sold.
It's sold. Yep. And then we had a custom.
How'd y'all get it? I mean,
I bought it back.
oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was our number
Have
one.
you ever played it?
Oh yeah. It's freaking awesome. It's a great guitar. We haven't built one guitar yet that I don't think it's one of the best guitars I've ever played.
Yeah, they just keep getting bigger. I mean, bigger and better
Yeah.
every time we play one. So
Pull that one out.
this one here is Crawford's.
That was mine.
He wanted a beautiful green, ugly green Slimer
Man,
guitar.
Lounge sherbet.
If I've never even saw it, and you said which one of these 10 guitars is Crawford's, I said that one.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at the back, it's got a hot dog in his name. So,
Yeah, hot dog. Big hot dog fan.
yeah, we wanted to build something. He wanted something green and sparkly, and didn't realize how hard a metallic was to paint until Crawford wanted a guitar.
Does it have some sparkle in it?
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
I can't tell from here.
It's got some blue
Like
metal,
a metal
flake in
flake.
it. But he plays this.
That's pretty much my number one now.
Yeah.
And I got some insane guitars at home in my collection, but this thing is just awesome.
Yeah, and I did the body. He spec'd everything out. He wanted a flame maple neck and locking tuners. The pickups are his choice. Bakelite, which is the old school plastic pick guards on it. We're actually building him an amp right now, and it's the same colors as this guitar. So that's going to be pretty fun.
That'll be coming soon
Coming soon,
to a
yes.
venue
Yeah,
near you.
Benny's
you've just
near you.
gotten into
To a
building
Benny's,
amps.
yeah.
And
Benny's near you.
Yeah,
And the headstock over there says,
this is it says Soglo Guitar Gallery
okay.
Soglo Customs.
or custom. Sorry, it's it actually glows in the dark too.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we built Sean's.
I thought you was leaving. Okay.
The guitar that was built around a pickup.
Yes.
I ordered that pickup for that neck
which one are we looking at?
from Lawler,
Straight ahead.
and it was really cool. And then Paul and I were talking. Paul's like, "We should build Sean a guitar." I was like, "Yeah,
Oh my God.
yep."
You need to walk that up to the camera.
He got a shot of it.
Oh, you can zoom, huh?
Yeah, man, y'all totally surprised me with this, man. I was like, what? I've never had
It's got
anything this nice.
the artwork on the plate on the back right here is actually a Sean Clark original, and it's
Yeah.
Pine Box Dwellers
Yep. And his knobs too.
flyer, right? Wasn't it from a flyer? Or
It was on. I drew
Hellcat.
it, and then it was on some flyers, and it was on T-shirt. I think y'all lifted it from the T-shirt and put it on
Yes.
there,
Yes.
which is amazing. So it's laser
Unreal.
engraved back there. But man, y'all went all out on this thing. And I love the pickups.
Yeah, it's just when you came in the store and we did the Dan Electro guitar, and you're like, I want something kind of different, but kind of cool, not too non-traditional. But so when we started looking at this, I was like, this thing would be all Sean. That pickup, and Paul just went at it.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many albums Pine Box had until I went on there to figure out his style. And I got him all. I was listening to him, and we figured mahogany would sound good. So we did all mahogany, and then we did a thin line to keep it light. And then the Charlie Christian pickups are just the best. So
They are.
Yeah, I mean, y'all know me better than I do because I couldn't have built a bear guitar. I mean, I couldn't have picked out the things that would have matched me as good as that guitar does. It's got a great
cool
sound to it.
Well, my name's Uncle Dave. I've survived a heart attack. If you want to build me one, that's enough to go on right there. I mean,
Absolutely.
I survived a heart attack, and
heart-shaped guitar.
Yeah. It'll be a
Heart-shaped.
heart-shaped guitar.
no, I've actually y'all done some work for me, and you charged me $37.49.
And trust me, he sweated every cent of that out when he stood there and counted it to me. Never had nobody bring that many rolled pennies in my life into a store.
No,
That was pre-heart attack.
that was pretty heart attack. If you ever in Brunswick,
Yeah.
Gloucester, Brunswick, Georgia.
So
It's,
glow guitar.
actually, Gloucester is one of the oldest streets, probably, because
It
you
is.
take a left off of 17. Is that 17?
That's correct. Yeah.
After you go over the big bridge, you take a left at the first traffic light, and you're on Gloucester, headed straight to the historical section of Brunswick there.
That's right.
And right.
You're about to move across the street,
Oh, yeah?
aren't you?
Yep.
Is that not supposed to be
Couple
said
months.
on the podcast?
Well, it's out the bag now.
It's out
Oh,
of bag now.
sorry.
Much bigger place.
Yes.
Cool. Across the street, still on Gloucester.
So on Gloucester,
All right.
we're kind of going to be no glow, but we're going to keep it so glow.
No glow.
So if you ever within eye shot or earshot of this podcast, if you're ever down in Brunswick, Georgia, be sure to go to Soglo Guitar Gallery and check it out.
They don't just build stuff. There is used guitars there.
yeah, we
Very
sell.
nice selection. And y'all do repairs and
Yeah,
all the
lots of
setups and everything. And
Strings,
strings, effect pedals, amps,
picks.
anything that's guitar, we do it.
We do lessons and
Okay, cool.
oh, really? Okay.
He was telling you, Dave. We do
Yeah,
lessons.
I and I appreciate that. Yeah, I could use some. Y'all even do live music at your.
We have done
y'all
live
have
from the
done
gallery,
something.
yeah.
Played there
Yeah, man.
a time or two.
Y'all gave us a gig when we didn't have a gig
Yeah.
through the pandemic.
Helped out through the pandemic. It was very cool. But
I was just thinking about that show, the first show we three did together at Loco's over
Yeah.
there.
That was how I met you guys.
Yeah.
that was how we met.
Oh,
Yeah,
I knew you. You probably didn't know who I was, but I knew you way back.
Yeah. And I knew Jesse from way back. He recorded in my studio in my first store. I can't remember who I played with.
So what was it? A
But
songwriters thing?
Yeah.
Was that the one with Connie? Or was that one a different one?
I think the first one was just me, you, and Sean.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I had heard your stuff because Lee O'Neill was recording with you.
Okay.
And he played me some of your stuff,
I
and it was great. And then I heard some of Cadillac Jack stuff, and then I heard I guess it was early Pine Box.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, these guys are awesome. And so I sat down and asked me to start doing a summer songwriter series, him and Susan Bates.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, man, I've got to find somebody good. And then I was listening to that stuff. I was like, okay, Lee, can I get their number? And so I called you guys. I said, y'all want to come down? And then we did the Coastal Kitchen thing together. And so it was just every time I did a songwriter thing, I did one at Tipsy's. Y'all were my top two guys because I was like, yeah, let's get them in.
Appreciate it too. But
I was wondering about that. I couldn't remember
Yeah.
just how it was that we met. I figured it was we were introduced by Lee.
Yeah. I lured you in with $100.
That works for me every
I got
time.
$100 says you won't come down here and play your songs.
$100 in a hole. That's how you catch it.
$100 and some
musician.
chicken wings.
But the
Weenie
first
wagon.
time I remember meeting you, when you had City Music and you had the studio in the back,
All right.
and Chris Ryder was going there to record, and
Yep.
or maybe me and him were doing a little thing together because we were playing acoustic shows together at that time. Maybe we were trying to make a demo or something. I can't remember, but we went in for like a day and did like some.
Did I record y'all?
Yeah.
Okay. That studio was ridiculously busy back then because nobody had home computers that they could sit and make something
Yeah, it
sound
was
better
cool.
than what I was doing. But yeah, I remember I met Will Gore there, but Will was only in like 7th grade. He was a little bitty guy. Came in and recorded with his band, and they were doing like hard rock stuff at that point in time.
Will Gore, for anybody out there wondering, listening in and wondering, we talk a lot about area musicians on this podcast, but Will Gore is a hell of a guitar player, lead guitar player for a group called Bonnie Blue. Based, I think they're based out of
They're
Jacksonville,
out of
Jacksonville, yeah.
Jacksonville, Florida,
Yeah.
which is only about an hour away from us.
And Will's been a dweller before.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Will helped us out one whole summer when we were going through some transitions with a lead guy, and he's actually playing with us this Friday coming up.
Great
Where-
player.
At Reed's Apothecary. I don't know if the podcast comes out before we play there, but
That's another venue in Brunswick. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the Golden Isles is where Waycross musicians flock to for gigs because there's
Nothing
plenteous over there. There's very little going on in Waycross, and well, the money's better too over there, and it just seems like you know how it is when you're in you're a product of a locale. People hear you all the time. They tend to kind of get bored with the same old. When you go out of town, even if it is only an hour away, everybody over there say,
What the
"Who are
hell?
you?
Yeah.
Where are you from?" And man, this sounds great.
You can't be a prophet in your own land.
You can't be a prophet in your own land.
You got to go down the road a little bit. And they're like, man, you guys are awesome.
Not to say that you don't get the support locally, because you have a fine support group here locally. Me, I don't have one at all because I just don't play here anymore.
Yeah, you do. You got the same ones I got.
Yeah, well,
We got a family of friends.
we got a family of friends. That's right.
We pay them to come out. So, hey,
Yes, that's why we play over in the Golden Isles. We have to keep.
there's a lot more gigs over that way too, and it's kind of, especially in the summer with the tourism and stuff, and it's only an hour down the road, and I love to go. I love playing over there.
Yeah, anytime you can hit the road, it seems like it's more fun.
Crawford, tell us about your 40 bands you're in. At the
I'm
moment.
not in 40 bands anymore.
39 now.
Yeah, it's 43. I've shortened up the deal. I'm still doing the solo thing and playing with Jim. That regular 5 years every Thursday at Tipsy's. But I'm doing Squirt Gun, which is all doing all 80s stuff, and then I'm in Side Tone, which is kind of like a member of every band in town. Mike and Michelle Alongi are in it, and Damien Fedorko and Cliff. Played with James Renee and the Walkers and all that. He's in there. And
What kind of genre do y'all do with that?
everything. It's the most real challenging band. I'm playing guitar and sax and singing in that one, and then Michelle's on keyboards. So but we'll do anything from like Bon Jovi to Kings of Leon to God, it's everything. A lot of dance music. It's a lot of work, but it's fun. And both of those bands are non-rehearsing bands, so it's cover bands. We send out the song, and you
Learn
better
it.
be ready on
Yeah.
Friday. But It's fun, and I still do the little CP and the Shockers thing every once in a while. As just a fun thing. If somebody needs somebody to fill in, we can get them out.
Yeah, man. I love to hear you play with every one of them that I've heard you play. I hadn't heard side tone yet, but that sounds good.
It's a pretty really good band. It really is. We're playing a lot more this year than we played last year. Last year was our trial run to see if we could make it work. It's a lot of egos on one stage.
Yeah.
Michael Longy's amazing drummer, isn't he?
He very much is.
Michelle too.
Michelle
Yeah.
too.
Michelle
Yeah.
is just.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, I'm the
else you
grandpa
said
and the
was in there?
weakest member in that band.
Who else was in there besides that?
Damien Fedorko.
Oh, I've heard of him. He
And you've met Cliff before, because
Yeah, I
Cliff
know Cliff.
Bragdon.
Yeah, he's an amazing bass
yeah,
player.
Cliff Bragdon's awesome.
He's really solid.
Damien played at one of our festivals too with somebody. I can't remember what band that was. Might have been
Could
Ryder.
have or ambiguous. Did Michelle?
Yeah,
do
it could
something?
have been Michelle's band.
He plays with Michelle quite a bit.
That's it. She was she came out to Moss last weekend when me and Connor was playing, and I yanked her away from her whatever it was she was eating over there at the bar. And she got up and just blew everybody away. I was doing The Wait,
Oh,
the
yeah.
very last song of the night, and I was looking there. I kept looking down there. I said, "Come on, sing one."
Yeah.
And she got up there and just, how impressive her voice is,
It grabs a hold of you like
just,
immediately.
it just takes the room and everybody at once, whiplash with their neck, and immediate response. Yeah, she's just so talented.
And her husband Mike sings great, which is funny because
I've never heard him sing.
he hid it from us all for the
my
first
gosh.
probably 6-7 years they were here, and then all of a sudden I see him on a Facebook video singing karaoke at Benny's Red Barn one night, and I'm like, I think he sounds pretty good. But now in side tone, we've split lead 3 ways. I sing 3. I sing part of it. Mike sings part of it. Michelle sings part of it. He's a great singer,
Wow.
And
I hadn't heard him
a
sing.
bass player,
a killer bass player,
and a drummer.
killer drummer,
Yeah, man.
an awful person.
People like
But,
that
but a
piss
great
me
player.
off.
Not the nice one. He kind of smells. I hope he watches.
Well, people from Chicago are almost always nice.
Almost always.
Well, Michelle's nice.
She from Chicago too?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Cool. I saw a YouTube. It seemed like they must have went home for the holidays one year, and they came back with this 4 quadrants of the video thing. How one of them the bass player,
Like
one
a
of them's
Zoom
Keyboard
video?
player, kind of like a Zoom video.
Yeah,
that
I think they were all at the same house, but they just chose to do it.
It's
that
actually
way.
they did it during COVID. They did that.
Oh, that was
yeah,
during
and
COVID.
everybody in that video is an Alonji family member.
Oh, okay.
So Mike's brother, who's an even more impressive drummer than Mike is, which is crazy. Mike kept telling me, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't believe he could be better, but he is. But you can YouTube search it. It's the Alonji family.
Yeah.
And it's like they're doing it from their
What are they
houses. And
doing?
Mike's dad put this together, who's a monster guitar player and singer. But he would like give them deadlines. He would be like, okay, so learn your piano parts, and I need you to send me those by Thursday. And,
Okay.
they're doing like some pretty hefty stuff. Like, does anybody know what time it is by Chicago and that type of
Yeah.
thing? And he's got another brother that plays trumpet and trombone, and then they all play. And I think Michelle was really the only non-blood
Married
Alonji
into-
on there.
married
Yeah,
into it,
it's
yeah.
just they're ridiculous. They're all great players.
He plays bass too, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's what Mike plays bass on all these videos, because his brother does the drums and Mike does the bass. Because Mike told me that when they started to play, him and his brother both. His dad was a professional musician, always has been, and he was like, when they started to learn, it wasn't, you can't go blah, blah, take around. You have to learn proper hand position, and you're going to learn how to do everything right. So they had to learn theory and everything else. When they grew up.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I, on the other hand, no.
So, what is your jumping off point? As when did you wake up and say, I want to do that?
You know what's funny? My entire life. I mean, I had like the little Lowry air organ when I was a kid that I would sit there, and I remember figuring out, watch closely now, by Chris Christopherson from the A Star Is Born thing, and there's this cool little part, and the chord things, I can figure out how to do that on that. And then, and then toy guitars, and then that became real guitars or real keyboards. And I just always wanted to do it. I started playing in clubs when I was 14, almost 15.
Wow. So you started real young.
Real young. And school band just got me when I learned to play sax, and that was just the catalyst. That just became all I wanted to do. That's all I do now. I mean, I play music.
You made it your life.
Yeah. It's everything. Hobby and living.
Uh-huh.
It's not much of a living. It pays like a hobby.
I wanted to play sax in middle school, but there was like 16 sax players.
Yeah.
So my uncle had a trumpet. He's like, I used to play trumpet here. You can have my trumpet. And there was no trumpet. So they were encouraging me to be a trumpet player. Then, 7th grade. So they're like, saxophones, play your part. Trumpet, play. It's like all these. There was people in there probably wasn't even blowing, but they'd all get to play at the same time, and then I just reminded me of that.
Little pressure.
I got it out for sax players.
We can take it outside if you want to. Did you play in school band?
Yeah, I played drums.
Me too. 4 years. Well, 9th grade was the learning band. I'll never forget when I finally accomplished that double stroke roll for the first time. It was like, I can't do it. Just relax your wrists. Oh, okay. And
Did you play snare too? Did y'all both start on snares?
Yeah.
That's what they start you on.
Started in snare, elementary school.
Oh, yeah. Okay. You said.
Wow. We didn't have band in
That was
elementary.
awesome.
They made us start in 6th grade. And the only thing that was more popular than saxophone was drums.
Mm-hmm. There was one trumpet player and one tuba player, and we sat side by side. We caught all the hell, like, you messed it up. You get yelled at, but like 16 of you guys can play at one time. It's cool.
That's the funny thing about it, is middle school now is generally when kids are introduced to band for the first time, and there's a lot of band instruments, clarinets, flutes, saxes, trumpets, and all being sold. But as soon as you hit 14 or 15, all of that generally goes out the window and is replaced by guitars, drums, and keyboards. And
Yeah.
I mean, 14 or 15, that's when the rock and roll bug hits. Yeah.
Well, when you're a boy,
so
you figure out,
y'all see that.
it used to be when you're a boy, you figured out that the easiest way to get girls was to get yourself a guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I got tired of running
true.
laps at football practice. I said, screw this crap.
We were talking about driving up here. Our average customer is over the age of 30.
Yeah.
It's not the young kids anymore.
Kids are mainly doing, they're doing a lot more like,
Devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think these past 10 years really run into that with no new kids coming up anymore wanting to play. I mean, it's the numbers have gone way down on that.
I grew up
That's
hanging out
gonna
in music stores.
Yeah.
do one of two things. It's either gonna there's going to be nothing new to come along in a certain amount of time, or it's going to leave it ripe and wide open for a brand new something.
There's always a resurgence.
I was going to say there's a resurgence or reset in music. I mean, you think about hair metal got to the point that it was just ridiculous, and so grunge came.
And then it got to the point that it was
grunge got ridiculous. It's just, and then John Mayer came and he just ruined everything for everybody because he was good looking, could play guitar, and could sing, and could get all supermodels. And for some reason, kids now sitting there with their iPhone goes, I hate him, and I'm like, why? He's great. He's doing everything that he should be doing.
Well, see, that's the same way I felt about Steely Dan.
Oh,
You just had to bring up Steely Dan, didn't you, Dave?
Well, I knew it was one of your favorites. Yeah, probably yours too. No, I don't know.
Great.
I know about this whole generational thing, but here's what I was seeing when Steely Dan first came out with Back Jack, Do It Again, wheels turning round and round, all that stuff. It was different. It was so. I mean, I loved James Taylor and Cat Stevens and this whole sensitive songwriter thing. But some of the music that was coming out in the early '70s was very bland. And the sensitive singer-songwriter thing. After a while, it was after so many granola bars and Rocky Mountain highs and everything, you just kind of, okay, I'm ready to get hit by some irony and some irreverence. And that's what Steely Dan brought. And plus the musicianship is just off the chain.
There's no doubt that the musicianship.
And, but, I mean, a song, Everyone's Gone to the Movies, they're talking about a pedophile. It's total disrespect for that.
That's why I don't like them. They sing about pedophiles.
Okay. Me too. And that's just what I was getting at. And, but
I don't hate Donald Fagen. It's just his guts.
Yeah.
I can't get past that voice. And plus, I mean, if I was back then, maybe when I was coming up, when that was coming out, then. But I was looking back on it, going, "This sucks."
Right.
But there's a few songs I'm like, okay, but the voice I'm just blocking out.
The voice is like nails on.
As I would look back on, say, what's the guy that said "Una Paloma Blanca"? Slim Whitman. I look back on Slim Whitman and say, I don't care for it, but my daddy probably loves it.
But he sold more albums than Elvis or the Beatles.
Yeah. Him and Boxcar Willie.
I was going to say Boxcar Willie too. Seems like it was that point in time that everybody that had a record on the TV sold more albums than Elvis or the Beatles.
Loved by millions. How do you know
and
that?
I'm sitting there going, I've never heard of this guy till I turned this commercial on.
But he's loved by millions.
Yeah.
It's like the Esteban thing. It's like, who's this guy? Where'd he come from?
Esteban. There's a guitar builder for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever played one?
I've seen a few of them.
He makes GSOs, guitar-shaped objects.
Do people bring those in for repairs and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. They also tried to trade them in, and we're like, no.
Debbie bought my nephew Graham one for Christmas.
Okay, that's where
and she brought it to me.
That one. That's the
and
one.
That's when I was working down at Crosstown Music with Paul, and I said, "Oh my gosh, Debbie, tell me you did." Yeah, I said, "Honey, there ain't a thing we can do for this."
They were quickly replaced by Keith Urban guitars.
Yes.
Oh gosh.
Really?
Pretty sure.
Well, now is his worth the crap?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
They looked great.
That's just selling out.
They were very ornate and they looked good, but they just didn't sound good.
I lost a little bit of respect for Keith Urban just right then and there.
Did you have some?
Yeah, I thought he was a good guitar player.
He
married Nicole Kidman.
He'll always look up to her.
So, Paul, you said you pick at it, play at it. You said you don't get an opportunity to play out that much, but how would you consider yourself? Are you adequate enough? You feel good about your
abilities,
guitar playing, or would you consider yourself I
don't play as much anymore as I used to.
Yeah. Did you ever play live or with bands and stuff?
Oh, growing up, we used to play the punk rock music in the garages, and
all right.
We ended up getting invited to proms, and we never got invited back.
Did that?
But yeah, I grew up, and then I was in the military, so I was I was gone a lot.
Yeah.
Didn't get to play a lot. Then moved to Brunswick, and I just started collecting guitars. I just think they're beautiful. So I don't play like I should, I
Yeah.
guess. More collect and try to figure out how to build than anything.
Cool.
And I just go out and see this guy play.
Yeah.
And sometimes I drive the Waycross to see this guy play.
Cool.
But yeah, not as much as I should.
I met you for the first time January 1st of this year when y'all played out at Tipsy's in Brunswick, doing the outdoor gig, and you brought this Devil Red amplifier
Yeah.
The Apollo 2?
for Sean to
Is that
play
right?
through.
Apollo, which one?
So we named it the Apollo Deluxe.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Man,
It,
sounded
and
amazing.
you actually built that too.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you build houses, guitars, and amplifiers now,
Yeah.
And he's doing pedals now too. So.
and pedals.
Yeah. It's every day in the store around 5 or 6 o'clock. We call it the witching hour. That's where we sit around and just come up with these crazy ideas. Like, let's build an amp. Let's build an amp. I get all the parts, and it took me like 3 months. It turned out good. I don't know
Yeah.
what our next projects are.
I'm scared to think about what's next. If we can afford it.
Yeah, I know.
So
We're going to start building roller skates.
what about the actual
Branch out.
the guts of the amp, the electronics and all? That's where people like Wayne Crabb and what's his name?
That's what they're doing too.
Clay Wilson over here in Waycross.
Yeah, we've
There's,
actually talked to Wayne about getting together,
Yeah.
and collaborating and building an amp
Yeah.
together because Wayne's
But
great.
they're actually in it from the electronics end of it, I guess, more so.
Y'all doing all the electronics too, right?
Yeah, we do everything from
Oh,
the
yeah.
ground up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he hand wires it point to point.
I
Paul
just-
does all the work and I take all the glory.
I would say them complain about what they don't like, and I fix it.
As soon as he leaves, I'll go, "Did you check out this guitar I built? Something pretty. Let me tell you how I did. Let me tell you how I did it."
Well, that red one was pretty, and it sounded good too.
Yeah. It's a great sounding amplifier.
We've got a lot of local artists with our guitars.
Will Gore that we mentioned.
Will Gore, Aaron
Aaron
Dixon,
Dixon.
Andy. What's his last name?
I can't remember Andy's last name, but he's the newest guitar player in that.
He just bought one of our guitars last night.
Really? All right.
Yeah.
Good
There's some
stuff.
Soglos floating around. Will Aspinwall's got a Soglo.
There you go.
He's got 2 or 3.
Yeah, he's got 2.
We had a guitar luthier here in Waycross for the longest time, which you probably know, Ronnie Griffin.
Yeah.
He moved out to south of Brunswick, 95
Harriet's Bluff?
Harriet's Bluff, yeah. Isn't that south of Brunswick or north?
North, I think.
He's a
Harriet's Bluff. Is
He's
that
a
south
great-
of Brunswick?
That'd be
that's south. Yeah.
South.
Okay.
He's a
Like
great,
around Woodbine,
Great
kinda.
luthier.
Yeah, oh man, I hated to see him go. He and I were probably like second or third cousins. He grew up right out Central Avenue. His daddy was Early Griffin. Early. Yeah. His daddy was always early. And I got to knowing him, I guess, out of high school. We kind of found each other, knew who each other was at that time. But actually, I played in a band with him. One of the first bands I played with, about 1972 or 73. I played bass. Ronnie played drums. Ross Peed played slide guitar. Gerald Gibson played, you know Gerald?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Gerald Gibson played guitar, and Marion Shadron played harmonica. We did Taj Mahal, Birds, Neil Young. We practiced a lot. Seems like a lot of bands that I was in, my first bands, we practiced a lot and never played anywhere. Never made any money. But we got to knowing each other way back then. And Ronnie was quite successful at that. He sold a guitar to Reba McEntire's guitar player. He sold one to Gary Rossington.
Did Charlie Daniels end up with one of his guitars too?
I don't remember that, but I was trying to think of the main one, so it's very likely.
He had a waiting list for them things.
Yeah.
When he decided not to build them anymore, and I put myself on a waiting list, and I about cried when I found out I wasn't going to get one because they were so nice.
Yeah.
We've got his first electric guitar. I think it's the first one he ever built.
Yeah.
In the back of Soglo.
Really?
Ronnie, yeah, it's one this wild looking little electric guitar, but it's a Ronnie Griffin. It was like, put it back there.
Man.
Yeah.
Preacher had it once. It was like, let's sell it. I said, no, we're not selling that. That's history.
History.
I said, that's a guy. That's,
He's a good man.
He is.
Crawford, why don't you play us a song?
All right.
Paul, you play us a song too.
You want to run the podcast? Go ahead.
I'm taking charge.
Acoustic. There's a Martin right there.
Acoustic.
When Crawford booked us at those little singer-songwriter things, that's when I got to hear most of your originals that you had at the time anyway.
It's way different from the originals that y'all guys do.
I
remember you were a big fan of Paul Westerberg
I'm
and
a huge fan of Paul
the
Westerberg.
Replacements.
So my songs are.
I like your songs.
I like Dirty Magazine.
So I wrote this song when I lived in Nashville. I'd gotten a divorce and decided that I really didn't want to have another relationship as it was. And there used to be this website called Craigslist where you could meet people, pre-Tinder. And so I met this girl off Craigslist. But we were playing, but we played it, but we decided we liked each other. Then we just, that we were into each other. Then we had to come up with a story of like how we met because we didn't want to tell anybody, that's how we met. So everybody told everybody we met at Starbucks, which is where we met up at Starbucks. But anyway, that was a dark portion of my life that
Craigslist.
I'm glad is done. But this song's called.
Is this about the girl that you met up with, or the girl you left?
About
the whole thing,
the whole ordeal of doing this. So that's basically my perspective on how it's happened.
How close you want this mic, Jeff?
It's good. It's a storybook romance from a page in a dirty magazine. An intentional meeting of chance, trying to fill a gap without a scene. See if I remember this. And I was building walls, trying to keep it all from ever getting a start. You said screw it all with eyes in the back of your heart. It's unconditional, but not traditional. But they'll never tear us apart. You could taste the fear and the pain. With a yes, I'm here, please say hello. There's no jealousy or blame. Well, I'm in love now, please can we go? I was building walls, trying to keep it all from ever getting a start. And you said screw it all with eyes in the back of your heart. It's unconditional, but not traditional. But they'll never tear us apart. keep it all from ever getting started. You said screw it all with eyes in the back of your heart. It's unconditional, but not traditional. But they never tell us, go watch me tear us. Now watch you tear us apart. It's a storybook romance from a page in a dirty magazine.
Yeah, I know that one. I remember that one. I just didn't know what the story was.
It's a weird one.
That's got some Paul Westerberg
Oh yeah.
spice in it.
Just turn that back down and up and over and
He's got quite a few of these. He keeps them hidden.
yeah, I'll play them out like you guys do. You take it.
I like your voice is definitely that
Scratchy McScratcherson.
70s, 80s. It reminds me of, what was that guy that lead singer for the Babies? And then he had
John Waite.
John Waite, which excellent vocalist.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of John Waite or Brian. Got a little bit of that cuts like a knife.
Brian Adams.
Brian Adams in there. Scratchy McScratchy.
Scratchy McScratcherson. Oh yeah, my favorite guys, like I love Keith Richards' voice. I always have, even now as it's really dwindled away a lot. It's still I like, that's the Westerberg thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds like about 3 gallons of whiskey and 5 packs of cigarettes.
It's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, y'all want to take a little break?
Something in my brain won't let me stray. Something in my veins gonna find its way. Something in the water taught me how to pray.
Welcome back. We're back. Something in the Water podcast, and our guests here, Paul Stokes and Crawford Perkins from Brunswick and St. Simons. This is interesting to me. I saw a little blurb on Facebook 2 or 3 weeks ago, I guess it was, and I thought that it had read that Crawford is you had posted something up there giving props to as a lady, but I thought the thing read that you were now preaching in church.
That will be something.
But that's not true.
No, that is not true.
Yeah.
I'm basically the music minister at the church.
Music minister.
I lead
cool.
praise and worship. That's something.
Religion's
Religion's always been
What's
something.
the name of the church?
It's Christian Renewal St. Simons Island.
How you like that?
Love it.
Good.
Absolutely love it.
How long you been doing that now? Is this just brand new?
It's about 5 weeks. Yeah.
5 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, not too long. It's did a couple in December, and I've done all of January. But it's different. Something I never thought I'd do. That's for sure. And y'all knowing me, know it's something I never thought I'd do.
Well, the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yep.
And
when He calls you, you better answer.
that's true. It's kind of like the old songwriting muse. Do you find it difficult? I mean, do you have Saturday night gigs?
Oh yeah. And difficult too, because all of a sudden you're playing in front of 100 sober people.
Yeah.
Which is real different from playing in the club the night before. And it's important to get all the words right, because you mess those words up, you can mess something up. So, so I'm studying them. And
Do y'all do? You said it's a contemporary.
we do
church.
mostly contemporary, but I pick out like one traditional
Do you?
gospel tune each week. Yeah,
Something like
we'll do like "How Great Thou Art," or we'll
Okay.
do "I'll Fly Away."
classic.
Yeah, do something
Southern
classic.
gospel.
Yep, Southern gospel. I think it's important to remember that stuff. And people in the church that are older that aren't into, basically all the new contemporary stuff really sounds a lot like Coldplay.
or Dave Matthews.
Or and it's cool, but but there are also people there that I know miss that old Southern gospel stuff, and I love it. I grew up with it.
Okay.
My grandfather was a part-time preacher, and I had an uncle that was a full-time minister, and we used to sing all that stuff all the time. So that was just it's part of me.
Yeah.
My dad's a preacher,
and you do that quite
a
bit, don't you?
That they lean more toward the traditional, and which I like. And then, but they'll rope me in about Mother's Day or Father's Day. They're playing something up there, but it is a lot weird. That audience is a lot more trained.
They're watching you. They're not talking in the background.
You better not
or
mess up, boy.
Yeah,
I got my eye on you.
They're paying attention, whereas in the clubs and all that.
Yeah, my first, I'm finally starting to relax in it, but my first 3 weeks, and you could, Paul, they do it. There's a Facebook live feed of it. And Paul's like, I was watching this, and your hands are just like this. I'm nervous because my wife's like, you do this all the time. I was like, well, this kind of matters. I said, So playing in a club, it's like, okay, this is good.
It doesn't matter if I mess up on stage and say something.
This will matter. It's
What's harder, Facebook Live or?
The church is harder, but Facebook Live was those.
You got to be drunk to do Facebook Live. I think that's my angle.
It was that was. I remember when we were doing the live from the gallery thing. It's just I tell everybody, I said, you're about to embark on the weirdest thing you've ever done. They're like, why? I said, you'll see after you finish your first song. Yeah. And so you finish it, bang, and there's nothing. Just complete
you got
silence.
Even the people there are trying to be quiet. So it's just like.
I finally started piping in those, going to YouTube and find those audience sounds, and I put it through the PAs. It sounded like somebody's clapping to them, but
it's like playing racquetball in a field. Waiting on it to come back. What?
Speaking of sound effects, we got something new on the podcast.
What are you talking about?
Say something funny again.
Something funny again. What are you talking about? We got laugh tracks.
Wait, he won't do it. Pull the string.
Well, you can't hear it, but I can.
Oh, okay. He's got it on. All right. Folks, comes the time when all good things have to end. And
Dave Griffin's got a book.
And
Dave Griffin writes it all.
Don't you do it.
We get it, Dave.
Don't you do it.
You got a book.
I get it, Dave. You wrote a book.
Get it already.
It's called The Missing Episodes. One of these days, we'll have that episode for all of you Something in the Water official fans. It'll be called Something in the Water Leaks.
All three of you.
So, in honor of our fine friends from the Golden Isles, this blog from my Tales of the Week kind of talks a little bit about Jekyll Island in this week's blog. So the title of this is Head On Dave and the Dashboard Save. When I die, I want to die like my grandfather, who died peacefully in his sleep, not screaming like all the passengers in his car. That's a quote from Will Rogers. The love affair between a man and his automobile has been going on for well over a century. To drive one is a simple rite of passage. To own one is freedom in its purest sense. When I turned 16, I had full use of the second-hand family Ford station wagon, picking up my early morning passengers, my high school classmates, Bruce Cerncy and Kathy Haynes, en route to Ware County High School. It would be 4 more years until I owned my first car, a used red and white Volkswagen van. The van was first owned by my brother, Gary, who was in the Air Force and ordered to Cornwall, England in 1972 for a couple years. I took over the payments on the German beauty and set about redefining it to suit me. At the time, I was working at a local building supply store, Choo Choo Supply, in Waycross, and had full access to building materials, including an employee discount. My co-worker, Ronnie Beverly, was handy with tools, so we started by removing both the rear benches in the van. Next, we took off the interior wall panels and traced out patterns on the backside of several sheets of beautiful Luan paneling embellished with pink and white wood grain swirls, courtesy of Choo Choo Supply. A sheet of 3/8-inch plywood and some heavy-duty hinges transformed into a fold-out bed frame with screwed-in legs made from plumbing pipe. A pink and white swath of shag carpet was glued down in the back floorboard for the bed legs to rest on, leaving just enough room for a backyard aluminum lawn chair. My sweet mama, not knowing what she was getting into, tie-dyed a slew of sheet fabric and sewed curtains that stretched around all the windows and across the back of the front driver and passenger seats. A trip to Pick and Save right up the road yielded a state-of-the-art Satico 8-track tape player, which fit snugly into the dashboard glove compartment, completing the upgrade. Now all that was left was to make some memories. The first memory was not as comically tragic as Will Rogers' quote at the beginning of this story, but it was comically near tragic and left me with the nickname Head On Dave. It was November 24th, 1972, when I headed south on 2-lane US 1. Right now it's, 4-lane? Mm-hmm. They got 2 lanes going south and 2 lanes coming north, separated by a big grass median nowadays. But back in 1972, it was just a 2-lane highway. I was headed down to Jacksonville Coliseum, where Elton John's Honky Chateau tour had landed. Me and a gaggle of friends spread throughout the van. We were barely between Waycross and Folkestone when the lovely girl riding shotgun asked me about the heating system in the Volkswagen. Well, I commenced to explain the intricacies, bending down to show her the knobs and the levers and the floorboard next to the gear shift. Everybody riding in the back let out a blood-curdling scream in unison. I jerked back up and looked out the windshield and saw a line of oncoming cars peeling off into the ditch as I was trucking along southbound in the northbound lane. No one was harmed. Well, we got high and saw Elton John sing Rocket Man, and somebody not named Head On Dave drove us back home. Along about the same time, they used to have some weekend rock festivals held an hour away from Waycross on the Georgia coast on Jekyll Island. Several bands, and I think Flood was the ones that actually started this.
Right.
Flood was the band, and I got to meet Bob and Don.
Bob and Don and Rory.
Yeah, I met Bob and Don in the last several years I've been playing over there.
They're great guys.
But this was my first. That was probably about 1972 as well. But Flood used to have these little rock festivals on the weekend on Jekyll Island called B-Ends. You know, you heard of the Love Ends and all that. Mm-hmm. They call it the Jekyll Island B-End.
B-End. B-In or B-Out.
Flood and several other bands would set up a flatbed trailer right in between those wind-bent, tree-lined sand dunes right there on the opposite side of the highway there. Several of my Dog Hill buddies and I loaded up one afternoon, headed over there, carrying only a bag of reefer and the clothes on our backs. We stopped as we were leaving Waycross to pick up a quart of orange juice just in case. It was a good thing we did. just before reaching the Jekyll Island turnoff, we rounded the curve on Highway 82 to see the beautiful marshes of Glen. We also couldn't miss a state patrol roadblock a short ways ahead, with a van being systematically torn through on the side of the road. I slowed down to a crawl, and everybody else jumped behind the tie-dyed curtains and started eating pot and drinking orange juice. As we crept closer and closer to the officer in charge, I kept shouting encouragement. Eat it! Eat it! We were next in line, and as I started to slowly roll my window down, the patrolman waved us right on through. At which point I began shouting, hello.
Hey, sorry.
At which point I began shouting, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Spit it out. You know, that's a tough word. The intricacies that lay in the mechanics of a Volkswagen heating system may be difficult to understand, but in its simplest form, it blows out hot air through the dashboard vents, and you can dry a lot of wet, saliva-coated marijuana on a dashboard vent.
Dang. Sorry, I didn't turn my phone off. It sucks.
That's all right.
Oh, well.
So if you're ever in Southeast Georgia, and particularly in Brunswick, Georgia, check out Soglo Guitar Gallery and our good buddies.
Yep, we're on. And
Crawford and Paul, what's your address?
We're at
There's your telephone
502 Gloucester Street, Suite 102, downtown Brunswick. We're also on Facebook, and this is Soglo Guitar Gallery. We also have Soglo Customs on Facebook. We have
and
Soglo
Instagram.
Guitar.
Y'all are on Instagram too?
We're on Yep, Soglo Guitar Gallery's on Instagram. And you can go on our website, SogloGuitarGallery.com, and you can, if you need to ask a question after hours or whatever, there's the same, it's got a picture of me. It says, talk to me, and it'll go straight to my phone. You can text with me and find out anything, any time of night, except for between 2 and 6.
You guys make house calls too, right?
Absolutely. We send Paul out.
Like, I got a broke string. Can you be here? And y'all just haul.
It's
Load up the
we're
truck.
pretty close to done that. So, yeah, we've done most of that.
And y'all are doing great stuff.
Thank you. We
And
appreciate it.
It's just nice to even have a cool music store these days. I mean, the nostalgia of just even going into someplace cool like that.
Yeah.
'Cause there's not many anymore.
It's what we geared towards. We wanted it to look good, but be comfortable for everybody to come in and hang out, because the music store hang is a big thing, and it's become a more and more of a disappearing thing. So we wanted to bring it back.
Well, we appreciate y'all coming on tonight. Good to
Yeah.
have you.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
Good to see y'all too. I finally came on
And,
y'all's turf.
There you go.
Y'all used to come to Brunswick to do anything.
That's right.
It's hard to get anybody from Brunswick or St. Simons to leave that area and go anywhere.
My band plays in a 10-mile radius. I tell you that right now.
All the musicians and stuff over there, it's like all these awesome bands, and it's like, no, we're not leaving. I get it though.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've got the venues to
Yeah.
support it. I mean, you don't have to. You can book a different venue. Hell, you can book 3 times at different venues in 1 week.
I'll be driving 3 hours down the road trying
Got
to
it
make
made.
$1.
Got it made. Well, thank y'all again for watching. I'm Uncle Dave Griffin, Sean Clark, and Justin Mercer of Caution Light Media. We want to thank y'all for checking out Something in the Water podcast. We'll see you next time.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah. So thank y'all.
When the cold black water finds its way across through your veins, it just might seal your fate. It just might seal your fate. It just just might see your face.